your gavel?
Oh, I got, yeah.
Oh.
Might need that. Right. Whoop.
And this is the latest handout?
Yeah, with the map on the back with the
Yeah.
dotted line.
Yeah. The yellow one,
That's
yeah.
good, and everybody's getting that when they come in, so they should be all set.
Hour and 15, that's it, buddy.
Is that the over-under?
Come on.
You got the cable article, Melissa? Everything for that one? Okay. Questions, I guess. Oh, we'll see if they questions. You good?
6:59.
Yeah, oh, yeah. Those controversies. Chuck, how are you? Good, how you doing?
All right, yourself?
Pretty good?
I may reach out to you and ask you a quick question about that's why Carlisle does their sign license.
Oh, okay. Like highway street signs or something?
Someone knocks one down or something like that. Do you guys contact that?
No.
7 o'clock, Tim.
Were you around? 7?
7, yeah.
Oh, Jim did. Yeah.
I don't want you to get in trouble.
I know we gotta get going. Meeting will come to order. Please take your seats. I find that the warrant for this special town meeting has been properly executed and served. Return to service made by Constable Matthew J. King. We are in session. As you checked in this evening, I hope you all had the opportunity to pick up one of these yellow town meeting update sheets. It contains the changes from the town meeting report that was mailed to you a few weeks ago, which we also have copies of if you left that at home for any reason. There are 11 articles on the town meeting warrant. Articles 1 and 11 will not be moved tonight, and we'll be passing over them, so there really are 9 articles that we'll be dealing with this evening. The town meeting guidelines are posted on the town website, but they're really just common sense rules, and I'll summarize the most important ones. If you wish to speak, you must be recognized by the moderator, and please state your name and address each time you speak. We're recording the meeting, and it's important to be able to identify the speakers afterwards. And personal remarks, rude and disrespectful speech will not be tolerated. And please don't speak twice on a question if there are others waiting to have a first shot at it. And those are the most important rules. I'd say all questions should be addressed through the moderator. If you have a question for the Board of Selectmen or the Finance Committee or anyone else, it should be through the moderator. Simple amendments can be made verbally. More complicated amendments should be in writing. And with that, I think we'll get underway this evening. As noted, Article 1, bills from prior fiscal years, is being withdrawn by the Board of Selectmen. There are no unpaid bills from prior years, which is a good thing. So we'll pass over Article 1. Madam Clerk, please record no action was taken on Article 1. I'm reminded that I neglected to open with the Pledge of Allegiance, so I'll ask Selectman Paul Lavella to lead us in the pledge. Thank you. Thank you, Paul. So we will move to Article 2, which has to do with LCTV, PEG access, and cable-related fund. I'll read the motion for you and put it before the body. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 2 as printed in the warrant. And in your town meeting report, you'll see the language of the article and also in bold print an explanation of the article. Right now, I'll turn to the Board of Selectmen for further explanation of the article. I turn to Selectman Hebert.
Good evening, everyone. Littleton Community Television, LCTV, provides a variety of cable-related services to us all, including televising and making available on-demand meetings such as this one for those that can't be there and want to see and catch up. So, want to support LCTV. Today they receive the funds from our two cable operators, Comcast and Verizon, around $200,000 a year. Those funds are then earmarked for LCTV's exclusive use. The DOR has made a ruling that we need to establish a PEG fund, which is Public Educational or Governmental Access Fund, so that we can put the money in there, and then LCTV can be the recipient. And if we don't do this, then the fund would be closed out, and basically we need to align with that ruling.
Okay. Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard with regard to Article 2? And I'll just remind you that we ask people to step to the microphone in the center of the room when you wish to speak, and you'll be recognized by me there. Yes, sir.
Harvey Atkins, Newtown Road. The only thing that came to my mind is, all right, right now we have $437,212 in there, and there'll be another 200 each year, 200,000. Is there a limit, a top end? Where does the money go if it, just sits in the account for the cable TV? What is it going to be used for? Educational things for the channels, and how much is kept in reserve, and how do you use the money if it gets up to be a tidy little sum? That's my question.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. Finance Committee?
Thank you, Harvey. Yeah, this money right now is in a special account. All this does is formalize it by putting it under a new accounting system that the state has come up with. To answer your question, Harvey, the $437,000 you were talking about, that's what it will be at the end of the year, with the additional $200,000 coming into it. The money is used to pay the salaries and benefits of 2 full-time employees for LCTV. Also, the contractors that we hire to do the different nighttime meetings on TV. It also gives you access on on your computer for on demand. So if you miss a program on the night that it's being aired, you can always go to your computer, call it up, and catch up on what's been going on in most all of the committees that the town has. The money that's coming in rolls over every year. We have a budget, just like all other town departments have budgets, and we have to live within that budget. But it's not money that comes out of appropriated funds. It's all funded by Comcast and Verizon. Does that answer your question?
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to be heard? If not, we'll proceed to a vote on the motion as read. All those in favor of the motion under Article 2 as read, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed? Okay, the ayes have it. The motion passes by a unanimous vote, and I so declare. Thank you very much. We'll move on to Article 3, FY 2016 revolving funds, an amendment to an existing one, and authorization for 2 additional revolving funds. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 3 as printed in the warrant. For the Board of Selectmen, I'll turn to Selectman Knox.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. You know, this article, like the moderator said, has to do with revolving funds, to amend one and to establish 2 other ones. The first one has to do with animal control. Our animal control is actually done through the town of Boxborough. They do this service for us. We had probably, I think, 180 phone calls last year to the police department dealing with animal issues. 141 of those went to the animal control officer. And in this case, when it was first set up, I think it was last spring, before that, the total sum was $12,000, and they found out in the meantime the actual cost for our town to get these services is $17,000. On the second one, it's just the opposite. We're providing something to the town of Boxborough. Town of Boxborough, through our cable company, actually provides all their cable needs. In return, the town of Boxborough pays the town $65,000 for these services. That money is used to provide those services. And the last one, through the Conservation Commission, they have 2 community gardens, one on Newtown Hill Road and one on the App property. They do charge small sums of money for each little plot. They want to take those like $10 at a time and put that into an account. That way, in the future, if they need to maintain, to do anything to those pieces of land, they can. So they want to have a revolving fund on that also.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak with regard to Article 3? And I would point out that the Finance Committee, the Board of Selectmen, the LCT Advisory Committee, and the Conservation Commission all support Article 3. All right, if no one wishes to be heard, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion as read under Article 3, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes by a unanimous vote, and I declare it to be a vote. Thank you very much. We'll move on to Article 4, FY 2016 Budget Amendments. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to amend the FY 2016 operating budget as adopted pursuant to Article 4 of the May 4, 2015 annual town meeting by adjusting budget line items as follows. And then you'll see a table that indicates the line items that will be increased and or decreased and transfers into the operating budget. And I'll note that the Finance Committee and Board of Selectmen support Article 4. For the Board of Selectmen, I'll turn to Selectman Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So as the moderator pointed out, you have a chart for the ins and outs as far as the transfers. There is a net increase of $22,182 for the highway. That is for the increased hours at the transfer station and will be paid for by your stickers and bag cost.
Okay. Is there anyone who wishes to speak with respect to the budget amendments under Article 4? Yes, sir, please come forward.
Harvey Atkins, Newtown Road. I wondered why the dump or the transfer station is going to add a day onto the schedule. Is the transfer station overcrowded, or is it to give the people there an increase in salary, or is it to, I don't know, is it a union shop, or is it, what's the reasoning behind the increase? When they changed the program and started using the trash bags, I was told by one of the selectmen that this would not increase the cost to the seniors to use the transfer station, and it has gone up considerably since that day, and now it's going up again because the trash bags are going up in price. So I wondered why this is necessary to add a day into the transfer station. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, sir. Board of Selectmen.
So this is more of a service issue for the community. We had two public hearings, or a public hearing on the transfer station, and we heard from folks that for their convenience, another day was requested. During that time, we had talked to Jim Clyde and the staff down there. They recommend that the usage would be sufficient enough for the additional hours. So during the public hearing is how it came out.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak to Article 4? If not, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion as read under Article 4, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, the article passes by the necessary majority, and I do declare to be a vote. Thank you very much. We'll move on to Article 5, Collective Bargaining Agreement. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 5 as printed in the warrant. I'll again turn to Selectman Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So this is the last union in town that has a contract that expired as of June 30, 2015. It was the police union. All the other unions came to an agreement with the town. This contract is effective July 1st, and the 2 and 2 is for 2% increase in their salaries for the next 3 years beginning July 1, 2015.
All right. Thank you. And I'll point out that the Finance Committee and the Board of Selectmen both support Article 5. Is there anyone who wishes to speak with regard to Article 5? If not, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion as read under Article 5, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. The motion passes by the necessary majority, and I declare it a vote. Thank you very much. Moving on to Article 6, which are amendments to the personnel bylaw and salary schedules. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 6 as printed in the warrant. And you'll note that the Finance Committee, the Board of Selectmen, and the Personnel Board all support Article 6. For the Board of Selectmen, I'll turn to Selectman DeCoste.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. Good evening, everybody. This article was put in place to basically clean up an oversight from last May's town meeting. What this would do is it would adjust the schedules for any permanent full-time and part-time employees as we did last May, and just do a 2% increase through all the schedules, just to put everybody in the same playing field to create equity throughout the schedules.
Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone who wishes to speak with respect to Article 6? If not, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion as read under Article 6, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. It passes by the necessary majority. In fact, I believe it was a unanimous vote. Madam Clerk, please so record. And I declare it a vote. Thank you very much. We'll move on to Article 7, supplemental FY 2016 capital items from available funds. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 7 as printed in the warrant, and it's supported by the Finance Committee, the Board of Selectmen, the Permanent Municipal Building Committee, the Council on Aging, and the LCTV Advisory Committee. For the Board of Selectmen, we'll turn to Selectman Paul Avella.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator, and good evening, everybody. This particular article has three items associated with it. One is the fuel replacement facility for $111,000. The other is the Council on Aging kitchen for $38,000, and then $60,000 for LCT capital equipment, which dovetails to Article 2 earlier this evening that you all voted to approve. First, let's go with the fuels facility. At this town meeting, special town meeting a year ago in November, we approved money for that. It was roughly $548,000. That was insufficient to actually make the project work, so we're requiring the additional funds of $111,000. So it comes out to $659,000 to replace the 30-year facility that is currently the fuel replacement, or the fuel facility. On the Council of Aging, first I'd like to start off with today very good news, is we had a building permit issued. We're on contract to actually begin doing things in the senior kitchen. But because of the cost of everything that we wanted done in the senior kitchen, we had to break that up, and that project became segmented. So we picked pieces of it that could go forward and get that under contract, and that's happening now, so we can get that kitchen reopened, and certainly the goal is to have it reopened by the first of the year. But to be able to do the kitchen and everything that we as a town has envisioned, it's going to require approximately another $38,000, and that's what we're asking you to approve this evening. And then finally, on the LCT capital equipment, what the $60,000 does, on top of what the Finance Committee reported earlier, as far as salaries and the like, is the actual equipment that we need to make this work. You heard the PEG, Public Educational Government. Right now we got PG. There's no E in it right now. We're using 2 channels out of the 3 that are allocated to us. By appropriating this money and then actually buying the equipment, it enables us to open up that 3rd channel. So we've got the full assets available to us that are offered by our cable TV providers. If you've had the opportunity to see Tiger News Network as an example, it's our kids in the high school putting together a program. We've got a special program going on with Mark Crory that he actually teaches there, so we get the performing arts, if you will, through television, and the kids are learning that sort of activity. And it's a good class for them. And as I say, if you get the opportunity to go on there, stream it at the very least, and you can see some of the things that are being provided there. It also is going to offer standardization for us, better graphics that will be able to be presented across all 3 channels. And finally, it's that 3rd channel is what it's going to provide for us also, so that's why we're asking you. And realize this is for funds that exist. We're not asking for additional. It's available funds that we have now. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak with regard to any of the items listed in Article 7? Yes, sir.
Brian Tarbach, 16 Fletcher Lane. With regard to the fuel facility replacement, obviously something we have to do, but I believe I recall that back when this was originally proposed, the question was asked whether the funds that were appropriated at that time would be sufficient, and we were assured that they would be, and now we see we were off by 20% or so, and that concerns me a little bit. If we had seen the full price at the time, we might have decided differently, and I'm just wondering, at what point did we discover that the funds were 20-odd% below what we need? Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, the Assistant Town Administrator.
Bonnie Holston, Assistant Town Administrator. This project has been bid out no less than 4 times in an effort to try and get favorable pricing. We were hopeful that with the appropriation that we received at the November town meeting last year, we would have adequate funding in place. Since then, like I said, we've bid it out 4 times, and this is the amount that the additional funding is required.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Yes, sir.
Two questions. Oh, Harvey Atkins, Newtown Road. I still live in the same road. I guess I'm the only one that has a lot of questions, but the $59,871 for the PEG, I believe we have, how much? 400, and it just was on the other article, 400 and some odd $1,000. Why we have to raise or, bring in this extra money to cover that, where we're being covered by the 2 cable channels? So that's question one.
Okay.
The second question is, I was in the kitchen remodeling business, and I never charged anyone $180,000 to remodel a kitchen. And I know that it has to be under stringent regulation by the state, but I've done those too. And I still haven't gotten to half of that amount of money. And maybe it's because it has to be a union project, and I'd like to know why. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Town Administrator Bergman.
Mr. Moderator, through to the previous speaker, on the first question of why is there an appropriation in this article for an LCTV capital expense, the reason is that the previous article had put the LCTV funds into a special fund where a town meeting can then appropriate them. That was part one. So part two is to take some of those funds out and use them for the capital project that is envisioned to bring the educational channel online. So one of the earlier articles was to put the money into the fund where we can get at it, and this article is taking the money out of that fund and spending it. And on the matter of the Council on Aging kitchen, I would defer to Bonnie.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This project has also been bid out 4 times in the past year in an effort to try and get some favorable pricing. They were able to award the base contract, which just takes care of the code issues only. The hope is with this additional funding, they'll be able to deal with some of the cabinet work that needs to be done and address some other issues with the kitchen. This is a prevailing wage project. Any project that involves work on a public facility or public building is a prevailing wage project, and as such, it is a higher cost than it would cost, you or I privately to do.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else that wishes to speak with regard to Article 7? If not, we'll move to a vote. All those in favor of the motion as read under Article 7, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. Passes by the necessary majority. In fact, a unanimous vote by my ears, and I so declare. Thank you very much. We will now turn to Article 8, and I would ask you to refer to the yellow update sheets that you got on your way in, or if you didn't get one, you can get one now. The motion is different than in the booklet that was mailed to you. I'll read the motion that's on the sheet, and there'll be some explanation. I'll also point out there's a map on the back that shows the parcels that are involved, and then you'll see a dotted line across one of the parcels. There'll be some explanation as to what that means as well. So, Article 8, Nagog Hill Orchard leases. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 8 as printed in the warrant, provided that the Board of Selectmen, pursuant to an agreement reached with the Conservation Commission, shall include in the lease only a portion of Assessor's Parcel R02-10-0 that shall be substantially as shown on the sketch plan labeled 94 Nagog Hill Road, R02-10-0, Lot 107, and dated October 30, 2015, and provided further that the Board of Selectmen is authorized to prepare an engineered plan that adequately delineates the portion of parcel R02-10-0 to be included in the lease. And you'll note that the Board of Selectmen, the Finance Committee, and the Agricultural Working Group support Article 8. My understanding is we'll also hear from the Conservation Commission this evening. So for the Board of Selectmen, I'll turn again to Chairman Jim Carr for some explanation.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So Article 8 is, we're asking that the town authorize the Board of Selectmen to have a lease for the property of the orchard. There is a working group, the Ag Working Group, that consists of the Agricultural Commission, the Conservation Commission, and the Board of Selectmen. That group will be working on the RFP as it goes forward. This article is just asking the town to authorize the Board of Selectmen, once done by that working group and their recommendations to the Board of Selectmen, to be able to award that lease. So what you saw up there, or in the back of your yellow paper, we had some members of the Conservation Trust come before us and ask about that particular lot, R02-10-0, in regards to the lower portion. So the Conservation Commission, the Board of Selectmen met last Friday. We walked the property, and based on that walkthrough, based on the assessment of the operation of the orchard, we didn't want to impair or devalue the orchard by restricting any property that's available for the lease. But based on the leasor, or the leasee, and the Conservation Commission and the Board of Selectmen, we approved and authorized that small portion to be accessed by Littleton Conservation Trust and the Conservation Commission. So the article itself is asking for the authorization, the Board of Selectmen, to award the lease once the working group makes its recommendation, with the caveat of that small portion of that lot to be delineated through the Conservation Commission to the Conservation Trust.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone who wishes to speak with respect to Article 8? Okay, we do have someone. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, my name is Debbie Cristoforo. I'm all in favor of what you're about to do. I do have some questions, though. What kind of assurance do we have that, in fact, that piece of property will be taken care of as it is supposed to be? How are we going to get equipment down there that will properly care for that property? And if it's not taken care of, then what happens?
Okay, Board of Selectmen.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. So the agreement has yet to be developed by the board for the Conservation Trust and the Conservation Commission. We need to come up with an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, as to exactly all that. And it's the access way, the historical walls, all has to be determined. But for this article, in Article 8, for the actual lease, that piece of property will not be included in the RFP for the orchard. So your question is a little early. We need to work through the access. We need to work through the MOU with the Conservation Commission and the board and town council to make sure that all bases are covered.
Okay, thanks, Jim.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak on this article? Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Vinnie Chant, 4 Berry Bush Road. Just concerned about the 30-year lease. Could someone talk about that?
Selectman.
Sure, thank you. So it's up to, and it's based upon what the agricultural working group actually recommends to the Board of Selectmen. The idea is it's very expensive to keep an orchard running. So a shorter lease, it could be a 5, 15, 20-year lease, but a 30-year seems to be the max anybody wants to go out in regards to having a lease for any one particular person. Of course, the details of the lease are going to be worked on in regards to if we don't like who's in there, how we're going to be able to remove them and all that. But the terms of the lease is no more than, if the Ag working group comes by and determines that it's only a 15-year lease, they'll recommend 15 years to the Board of Selectmen.
One other question is, Charles does a great job up at the Orchard taking care of it. When he doesn't want it anymore, what happens if you don't get anybody to take his place? What happens to the property, the land?
That's a great question. It'll have to be determined here at town meeting. One option is to
Just let it
hire
go?
more staff and put town employees to maintain it. The other option would be to sell the property and have it as an orchard. There are restrictions on the property right now that it can only be an orchard forever, so.
Yeah, because you said sell. We can't sell it. The town,
It's town property.
Right.
If the town did choose to sell the orchard, we can sell the orchard.
Okay.
It's just an option, that's all I'm
Right,
saying.
but it's gotta be a
for now,
meeting?
I'm sorry?
the town meeting to sell the orchard? Yeah,
Absolutely,
okay,
absolutely.
okay. Thank you.
Yep.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak with regard to Article 8? Yes, please come forward.
Hi, Katie Caruth, Goldsmith Street. Just as you're entering into the process of asking for RFPs, I just want to put out the idea that you might want to approach maybe an educational institution, a university or somebody, some school of agriculture that might want to lease the property and use it for educational purposes.
Thank you.
So during the RFP process, it's an open public bid process, so if there's any agricultural school that wants to bid on it, they're more than willing to.
All right, thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to speak concerning Article 8? If not, we'll proceed to a vote on the motion as read. I'll point out that this, since it involves an interest in land, requires a 2/3 majority vote. Okay, all those in favor of the motion under Article 8 as read, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? Okay, I do hear some nays, so it's not a unanimous vote, which I could have declared. It's a 2/3 vote. Could I ask for a procedural motion that would permit the moderator to declare a 2/3 vote on Article 8? So moved. Second? Second. All those in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Okay. We'll try this again. All those in favor of the motion as read under Article 8, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed? Okay. The article passes by the necessary 2/3 majority, and I do declare it to be a vote. Thank you very much for that authorization from town meeting. That might make an interesting bylaw change at a future town meeting if you're interested. Okay, we'll proceed then to Article 9, Aid to Elderly and Disabled Tax Fund. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 9 as printed in the warrant. I'll turn again to Chairman Jim Carr.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I was asked by Pamela Campbell, she would like to come up and speak to, as our Director of Elder and Human Services on this article. She does a great job.
Thank you, Mr. Carr. I'm Pamela Campbell. I'm the Director of the Council of Aging and Elder and Human Services. We brought this forward because we would like to find a way to provide some tax relief for low-income seniors and the disabled. This statute has been on the books in Massachusetts for quite a while, and we're asking now for Littleton to take advantage of it. Essentially, it sets up a fund that would be filled with people making donations. And then there is a group that's put together with some appointees from the Board of the Selectmen, our treasurer, and the chair of the Board of Assessors, Fred Freund. They would meet, review the applicants. As I said, it would be seniors with need, so it's means tested, and those who are disabled using state criteria for disability. and then we would disperse the funds to help with property tax relief. The dispersal of the funds is directly to the office of the tax collector. So at all steps along the way, it's overseen and protected, and definitely goes, every dollar would go directly to help those who are in need of relief from property taxes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pamela.
All right, the floor is open with respect to Article 9. Is there anyone who wishes to be heard? If you do, please move to the center microphone. And if not, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion as read under Article 9, please signify by saying aye. Aye. And those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes by the necessary majority, and I declare it a vote. Thank you very much. Moving on to Article 10, which is a general town bylaw amendment that would reduce the size of the Council on Aging membership. Moved and seconded by the Board of Selectmen that the town vote to approve Article 10 as printed in the warrant, and you'll note that the Council on Aging and the Board of Selectmen support Article 10. For the Board of Selectmen, I'll turn to Selectman Knox.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. This simply does reduce the number of members on the Council on Aging from 11 to 9. It's a request from the Council on Aging. Currently, there can be 11 people on that committee. Right now, there's only 7, so it's actually tough for them to have a quorum. So by reducing it by 2 members, it'd make it a lot easier. And I think we all know a committee of 11 sometimes can be cumbersome also.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone that wishes to speak with regard to Article 10? If not, we'll proceed to a vote. All those in favor of the motion under Article 10 as read, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? The ayes have it. It required a simple majority, and the motion passes, and I declare it a vote. Thank you very much. As was mentioned earlier, there'll be no motion made under Article 11, and Madam Clerk, please record no action was taken on Article 11. Before I entertain a motion to dissolve, I would just like to, as always, thank the Board of Selectmen, Finance Committee for their assistance in preparing for this town meeting. Certainly the town administrator, assistant town administrator, town clerk and her able staff. Can't forget the school committee for letting us use the gym. We appreciate that. And LCTV and Nancy Glenncross from the IT department do an outstanding job. And without them, I should say, they make this very easy to do. And I thank you for that. With that, I'll entertain a motion to, I noticed tonight that Jerry Del Priori doesn't seem to be here, so one of you is going to have to make the motion to dissolve this town meeting, or else we'll be here all night. So moved. Second? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed? This special town meeting is dissolved. Thank you very much.